Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today I have got a message coming to you from the brilliant work of Tony Robbins, which ultimately, you guys who've been following me for a while, you know that I just went to Date with Destiny for my second time just a couple of weeks ago now. And I wanted to bring a really valuable piece to the mix. One that I first discovered when I went to my very first Date with Destiny back in 2013, and it made the most difference and impact in terms of my transition and my changes that I was bringing about in my life. And I'm really, really excited to bring this to you. It didn't have as big an impact revisiting this exercise just a couple of weeks ago because I've been really conscious of it. And that's what the gift I'm hoping to give to you guys out there today is to ultimately hear my story and hear about this particular teaching of Tony Robbins. And I want you to be thinking everything that I talk into, I want you to be thinking, well, what could it be for me? And the topic that I really want to talk to you guys about is this primary pattern that drives your life, and it comes in the form of what Tony Robbins calls your primary question. So really, really wanting to dive into that and share that with you guys today. And ultimately, before I dive into my story around it, I want to give you a bit of an explanation as to what the hell is a primary question. And ultimately what it is it's this question that every single one of us has as this kind of subconscious, which we're trying to bring it to the conscious, because everything that we bring to the conscious mind, we can shift and we can change and we can see what works and what doesn't work. But we have so much going on in our subconscious that is ultimately driving the game of our lives that we really want to shine some light on. And that's what the primary question, or uncovering what this question is for you. But it's really a driving force, this filter that every single one of us uses in terms of everything that we look at in our lives. So our primary question is a question that we are consistently and constantly asking ourselves all of the time, no matter what it is that comes into our experience. So it's kind of like this filter that's going on, whether we're conscious of it or not. Most of us aren't conscious of it, and that's why an exercise like this is really beneficial, because it allows you to see why you do what you do, why you think the way that you think, and why you take those actions and get those results. Because ultimately, this primary question, we are walking around with it every day of our lives. And what we do is we filter everything through this primary question. So it's what we filter, it's what determines what we actually notice and believe that comes in. So something comes into our existence, into our framework. We filter it through our primary question, and it determines what we notice, what we believe about what's in front of us. Ultimately, whatever we decide we're going to focus on, whatever we decide we make things mean, determines the set of emotions that we are going to experience. And then that set of emotions that we experience determine what actions we are going to take. And then those actions that we take determine the results that we generate in our lives. So you can see how this one piece, really has a huge impact on everything that we see and experience in our lives. So this one primary question that we filter our life through determines our emotional experience, which then determines the actions that we take, and that ultimately determines the results that we generate in our lives. So you can see the power and the value of uncovering, what is this primary question that determines the course of my life? And I'm hoping that you want to be really conscious aware of that, because when I made the discovery of what my primary question was back in 2013, when I was at the time a law student, I'd finished a business degree. I didn't know what I was going to do with that, really, what I wanted to do with that. I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do in my life. And so I thought, well, why don't I just do law? I'll get into law school. I'll feel pretty accomplished by doing that. And at least I know that it'll open some doors for me. That's how lost I was in terms of what I wanted to do with my life. I just wanted to open some doors, and, you know, coming from the family that I'd come from, you know, that was self-growth, that was self-development, that was growing yourself as an individual, was getting a uni degree of some sort, you know. And so that's what I did. That's all I kind of knew. And then I was introduced by my partner at the time, who was just the greatest gift to me in that period of my life, you know, to introduce me to what personal development really was. And so I started that journey, and I found myself at a couple of Tony Robbins events. And that's where I finally uncovered why I was doing what I was doing, even though I was so unhappy on the, you know, beneath the surface. I was so unhappy, and I was living this distraction-filled life where I just wanted to go out and party. And then I, you know, just wanted to think about all things health and fitness. You know, like I just went through these major transitions of distraction because I was so unhappy internally, and I didn't know why. I didn't know where I was going or what I was doing and how to solve it. And so when I got to this event and I went through this process of uncovering what my primary question was, wow, you know, like, wow, did this open my eyes? And that's why I want to share this with you guys. And I want you to be thinking, I know you're just hearing this potentially for the first time, but I want you to be thinking, what could my question be? And I'm going to take you through a few questions after I share my story with you, so that it can ultimately help you discover what yours is, so that you can have a few ahas like I'm about to share with you. But back at that time in 2013, and that was a situation I was in, I discovered that my primary question was based on, and your primary question will always be based on what your major primary focus is on in your life. And at that time in my life, I was an absolute massive people pleaser, and the main focus of my life was, you know, like, how can I be liked? How can I be loved? You know, how can I be seen as loved and valuable? And so my primary question, I discovered, was, who do I need to be in order to be loved? And that was the filter that I was using throughout the course of my existence up until that point of discovery. And so if you think about somebody who's living with a question of who do I need to be in order to be loved, you can see how that person is going to be somebody who just molds themselves. I used to call myself the chameleon, because whoever I was with at that time, I would shift and mold. I'd have a great perception as to who I thought that person wanted me to be in order to gain their approval and their love. And I would shift and mold and change to that. And then I'd shift and mold and change to whoever this person wanted me to be. And I was totally unconscious of this, by the way. This wasn't some manipulative strategy that I had on the conscious level. It was because I totally didn't know who I was. And if you also think about it, a kind of question like that, who do I need to be in order to gain love? You know, that presupposes that who my authentic self is not worthy of love. You know, it's not, you know, I have to change who I am in order to gain love. I can't just be who I am. So you can see, you know, the kind of results that I'd be generating in my life, the kind of feelings that I'd be experiencing. And you can definitely see why I was on the path to become a lawyer, when anybody who knows me probably knows that I'm like the opposite to a lawyer. You know, I'm all about how can we nurture this relationship? How can we build understanding here? I'm not, you know, build a side and build a case and there's got to be a winner, there's got to be a loser. I'm kind of the complete opposite to that. And I had a bit of an insight into that when I was studying law and when I did a course on mediation, and I just took off in that field, you know, and that was where my heart really sung, you know, where I could, you know, get people to understand their different perspectives, understand what's going on in somebody else's world, so that we can ultimately build relationship and navigate through this and grow, rather than get a winner, get a loser, and you know, that separation and trying to win. You know, that's the opposite. So, you know, when I made this discovery, it finally gave me permission to ask myself, what is it that I want to do? And go on that journey of discovering who my true authentic self was, that I'd been dulling down and hiding away in a little box because I was so terrified that if people knew who I really was, they knew my authentic self, they wouldn't love me, because I've been filtering a question of who do I need to be in order to gain love, so you can see the power of this one tiny aspect of what's going on in your subconscious. What is that primary question that you're walking around with? I'd ask you to start with identifying what is your primary focus in life. If mine was to gain the love and approval of those around me, then it's easier to discover what was my primary question. Well, who do I need to be in order to gain that love? So I'd ask you, what is your primary focus in your life right now? What is it? What has it been? Is it gaining the love and approval of others? Is it being as successful as possible? Is it, whatever it is, discover what that is for you. But I'll give you a couple of examples of what other people's primary questions are. And, if we don't discover and shine light on what this is, we can often, really be left in the dark in terms of why we do what we do, who we are, and all this terrible stuff that goes on, because a lot of people's primary question is something like, what's wrong with me? They're always asking, what's wrong with me? And remember, your primary question is something that you absolutely filter everything that you notice and you believe through this primary question, everything. So if you're walking around with a primary question that says, what's wrong with me? You're always going to you're going to find a way to answer that question for yourself. So you're always going to be looking for what's wrong, and that's what you're going to focus on within yourself, and that's what you're going to be constantly believing. There's something wrong with me. What's wrong with me in this moment? What's wrong with me over here? And you can see how, living with a primary question like that is going to determine a certain set of emotional experience, which is going to just definitely determine your actions and then your results. So you got to get clear on this and, discover what it is for you. Definitely identify what this is. I'm hoping that me sharing part of my experience is going to help you to uncover and sort of start to question. I would challenge you to, after this video, sit down with yourself and just really ponder this. Have some quiet time and ask yourself, what has been the primary focus of my life? Like I shared with you, mine had been, who do I need to be to gain love? I want love and I want connection, and I what do I need to do to get that? And so therefore it makes it easier to then ask yourself, well, what question do I ask most regularly? What question am I always asking? And you're going to have to get that quiet time and go internally, because this is a question that is going on internally all the time for you. And then ultimately, once you discover that is when you can really shine light and go on the journey of making some shifts and changes in terms of what that primary question is. And if that is something, if you're an action taker and you are going to identify what your focus has been, your primary focus has been in your life, and what your primary question is, then I would get you to reach out to me. I'm only going to give this to action takers. I'll do a training on how we actually make the shift to something much, much more positive. So if that's you, do the work, answer those two questions, get clear on what you feel your primary question is, and then let me know. Reach out to me, and that's when I will deliver a training for you guys, for action takers. All right, so definitely let me know. And before I check in with you guys and see who's been able to join me, make sure that you're dropping any questions, comments, or feedback for me right now that you'd like me to engage with. And definitely, if you haven't already, make sure that you come on over and join us in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. That is an area where we are growing, we're going deeper. That is where I will deliver a training for all the action takers. So if you're an action taker, make sure you do the work, you let me know, and you definitely are a part of the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. And then you'll get to go deeper in all of these teachings. So definitely want to check in with you guys. I've got Stephen and Sam and Alexandria and Moises and Gianni and Simona and Alexandria. I always love your hashtag happiness and energy and encouragement to you. Thank you so much. Much, much love to you, Alexandria. And Hassani's here, and Michael and Cherie and Jason and Juan Carlos and Jody. Hello to you, beautiful. And Robbie, and loving that you got some happiness here, Gianni and Elliot and Jody and Hassan and Jared and Judy and Juan Carlos. Thank you so much for those beautifully kind words. So appreciated. And Caden's here, and Megan, and you're loving this video already. I love it, Caden. I love having you here as always. And Karen, I'm new here but wanted to say hello to you. And I love that you're new, and I love that you've been tuning in, Karen. And I hope that you're a part of the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. We'd love to have you in there as well. And Sam, I'm loving that this is awakening for you. And Gabrielle's here. And Karen, I'm loving that you're loving this very much. That's awesome. And Jeff's here, and Andy, thank you so much for your kind words. And Matthias is here, and Karen, that's me to this point right now. Just not sure what to do, so I've decided to work on my personal development and take care of myself for a change. Wow, awesome. You know, that is what I'm absolutely wishing for each and every one of you guys. And I know if you're watching a video like this, then you definitely are into your personal development, and you need to, you know, it's that whole analogy around, you know, putting your oxygen mask on first before you help others. There's so many beautiful human beings. It sounds like you're one of them, Karen, who have spent a lot of time, you know, really trying to love and nurture and support the people around them, but often at the expense of your own oxygen. And so I love that it seems like you may be on the cusp and having that transition to put yourself first, to, you know, really put on your oxygen mask, because the more you develop and grow yourself and your emotional intelligence, the more help you are to those that you love most as well. So I love that, Karen. Thanks so much for sharing your experience here. And Herman and Gabe and Joshua and Jody. I'm loving that this is resonating with your heart. That's beautiful. And Gerardo, thanks for being here. And Luke and Jeremy and Caden. Yes, so very true. Primary question. Wow, I'll begin digging that up today. You're such a beacon of inner reality. You're an absolute best. Caden, you're touching my heart. And I love that you're such an action taker. And yeah, like I said, for all you action takers, if you do this work and you let me know what your primary question is, I will deliver a training for you in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. And definitely want to help you go deeper with that. Only for action takers. Yes, I love that you're watching, Jody, and Denzel is here, and Lucy and Karen. We have to grow and change for the better every day. Absolutely. Definitely. And Dilly, thanks for being here. And Lawrence and Karen, yes, authenticity is the only way to be and become. Wow, is that true? You know, gosh, you know, authenticity, you know, you showing up as your true authentic self, it is such an energizing experience, particularly if you've come from where I've come from, which is being, you know, living life through a kind of question that presupposes that I'm not worthy as my true authentic self, you know, presupposes that I have to be somebody else in order to have love, which is ultimately the name of the game as to why we are here on this earth. You know, I really have an absolute appreciation for my ability to be authentic now, and I wish that for every single one of you guys out there. It is the most freeing, the most energizing experience to not have to be anybody else but your true authentic self. And a funny thing happens when you show up and you are absolutely authentic, is that you gain true love in your life. Real people who really love the real you. Because when you walk around being a people pleaser and molding yourself to the expectations of others in order to gain love, even if you do gain their love, there's that deeper part of you that knows that who they are loving is not the real you. They're loving some version and some mask and model of who you really are. And so you never really get to experience feeling that love that you're ultimately after. So absolutely, Karen, there is no greater gift that you can give to yourself, to the people that you love, and ultimately to the world than you showing up and being fully authentic and unapologetic about it. So I love that, Karen, and Kenny's here, and Jolene, and Dilly, I'm loving that you're happy, and Francisco, and Kerry, and Colleen, you're so welcome, and Anne, and Jared, what's wrong with me? I've asked myself that question every day of my life. Jared, you may have just discovered your primary question. We will discuss this in our session, I think. That will be so awesome to make that transition out of that. And I can see how that may have been playing out a lot, Jared, absolutely. And Mandy's here, and Jody, it was great. As always, miss you, Vanessa, and look forward to your return. Absolutely. And I miss you as well. I miss all of you guys. I can't wait to get back to the States and see you in the flesh. It'll be awesome. And Ram's here, and Sam, my primary focus is freedom. My primary question is, how can I get unstuck? Awesome, Sam. So you will be one of the action takers who will get access to that special training. I love that, Sam. Thanks for being here, and thank you so much for sharing with us. That's awesome. I'd love to start a discussion on this. I'm going to share this video, I think, in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. I want to start a discussion with you guys where we can really go deeper in terms of uncovering that. And I might even get on a live video for you guys so that we can talk it out a little bit in terms of what's really going on for you. So let me know if that's valuable. And Latini's here, and Frank from Norway, Dr. Frank from Norway. I love it. And Dave and Haru, divine love and gratitude right back at you. And Howard, everything you said is literally me. Oh, sorry, that was Holly. I love that, Holly. And yes, that makes sense. Maybe it's us ENFJs. I'm not sure. That's awesome. And Madeline, hello to you. And Sergio. Madeline, love your messages every day. You are such an inspiration to the world. Oh, true gift. You've absolutely touched my heart there, Madeline. Thank you so much for those beautifully kind words. And I so appreciate you showing up and engaging in this content. I'm always so appreciative to you guys because you give me a platform to do exactly what I love doing and speaking into the stuff that I find most meaningful. So you are all super appreciated. Thank you so much, Madeline. And Tezen. Good morning, Vanessa. Today I realized the fact that my self-esteem is associated with the quality of the questions that I consciously and unconsciously ask myself. Oh my God, what a life-changing message. Absolutely, Tezen. I love that you've taken this all on board and definitely go on that journey of uncovering what it is for you. I'd love to hear from you. And thanks so much for being here and sharing your experience. And Ram, I'm loving that you're finding this a super inspiring topic. And Mitchell's here, and Hassani. Thank you for your commitment to empowering us to level up in our potential every day. I've grown a lot since I came across your page a few months ago. Looking forward to 2018, my friend. Oh, Hassani, you also know how to always touch my heart, and I'm super grateful that our paths have crossed. And I so love that you are such an action taker and you've gotten so much value from this content over the last few months. That's absolutely awesome. That's why I do what I do. So thank you so much, Hassani. And Nancy's here, and Tess and Bill. Hope everyone is having a very blessed, soon to come 2018. Here from Louisiana. I love it. And wishing you the same as well, Tess and Bill. Awesome, guys. I really hope that today's message has hit you in the heart and it is definitely getting you into action in terms of determining what has my primary focus been in my life, and therefore what could be that question that I consistently ask myself that is ultimately determining my emotional experience, which therefore determines the actions that I take, which ultimately determines the results that I've been getting in my life. When you can uncover what this primary question is, wow, does life get more manageable, because you get to understand why you do what you do, why you feel the way that you feel, and you get to have a platform, a foundation of really making the shift and change, which I will be delivering a training for all of you action takers who share with me what you've uncovered your primary question to be. So I hope that after this video, you get into some introspection and you ask yourself those questions. what has been my primary focus in my life up until this point? And, what has been my primary question? What is that primary question? That question that that I'm constantly asking and that I'm really filtering life through. So those two questions. And Sam, always you touch my heart. So grateful. Happy New Year, and wishing you the same. Thanks so much, Sam. And James is here, and Josh and Billy. I hope you guys catch the recording and get a ton of value, because I'm just about to sign off. And yes, I love that you're engaging with Tess there, Hassani, and you rock, my friends, and right back at you. Thank you so much, V. Thank you so much, Hassani. So I was reading at the same time I was trying to thank you. That's funny. And Caden, I think my primary question has created a duality in my mind and is hurting my productivity. I think it's what would be cool or what's cool. It's is that really weird? No, it's not at all. I mean, we were all kind of a bit weird. All of our primary questions are weird to the external world, but they make total sense to us when we uncover them and we start to see the patterns. We start to see, wow, what does that mean? Like, if I'm filtering everything through what would be cool or what's cool, what's behind that? What am I trying to gain from that? And then we can ultimately make some shifts and changes so that we can develop a new primary question that will be much more healthy for us as well. So no, not weird. Well, kind of a little bit weird, but not weird at all to you, I'm sure. I'm sure you can see the patterns there, Caden. And I love that you're already uncovering what that is. And Hassani, all good. Yeah. And Gary, I'm loving that you're finding this a great message. And hello to you, Fernando. And Sam, I know you just joined. Hope you catch the recording and get a ton of value. I am absolutely sending you guys all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything absolutely extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's brilliant. I hope it's amazing. And I really hope that you do the work after this video and you get your aha, because it is absolutely life transforming when you discover your primary question. That's it from me today, guys. I'm absolutely sending you all of my love, and I will see you guys tomorrow.